Marshall in the middle.
Keep going. I'm trying not to interrupt you. I apologize. I want to hear more of what you're saying and what you're feeling right now. Because I think that you're like kind of lit up on fire and something. You're talking about things that are really near and dear to your heart at this moment.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. It's neat to have friends where you can talk about real things, and I appreciate you. And you're absolutely amazing. We have known each other for so long, and been through, tough times and great times, and cried together and yelled at one another and chased each other around the house and taken pictures of one another that I feel are iconic. And I think you're super special, and I
As you
know,
are to me.
Yeah,
I love you.
Yeah, I know that we're connected in a way that is not. It's just not random. It's just not random. And so, if you realize that it's not random, then you make it deliberate, right? Over time, you make it even more deliberate, right? And I believe that the more we share our minds, the more that we'll, join the fold, so to speak. And I think that it's important that it's our job to save our world. Okay? Not our job to save the world. It's our job to save our world, okay? And so if we were going to save our world, how would we do it? We would use Jesus' example, because that's what he says, okay? And
so explain that.
All right, so we begin to save our world. We give salvation to every brother that we see. If they're in our world, then they're an equal brother to us and deserve our assistance in this world. Deserve every bit of help as an equal that we could ever give them about anything that they present themselves with. Like, no matter who shows up at your doorstep, for whatever it is they ask, if it is anywhere within your ability to even consider, then you begin to consider it. And you go, all right, you need 2 eggs, a cup of sugar, 4 tablespoons of vanilla extract, and a pair of flip-flops. Yes, ma'am.
That's when you invite them in and say, let's make that cake together.
Exactly. So you get my point, 100%. Okay. So the thing that I'm
if you have the ability to help, always help.
Right. Exactly. And so that's the key thing. And what happens is, as you begin to change your mind to that, as you begin to think differently, that's one of the keys to becoming born again. And for me, being born again was very similar to what Jesus describes without all the bells and whistles, and very similar to what Paul described when he had his experience, and very similar to what many others have had when they don't really call it born again anymore. They call it being enlightened. But I have to call it being born again, because that's the experience I had. I had the experience that Jesus and Paul talked about.
See, for me, I have been born again. My relationship with God is not what it used to be. I myself have let it slip. He's still here with me. I know it. I feel him every day, and I praise him every day, because without him, I'd be absolutely nothing. But as far as like giving and helping other people, how do you look at that as a born again experience? And I'm really truly questioning, because I've always been, hey, if I can help you, I'm there. And it's just me as a person. You know what I mean? I guess I should probably give God credit for that. I don't know. But, you know, I've got this little girl, you know, every single year, she's got 3 kids. She's a single mama. Every year I meet her in the summer. I give her money and I say, here you go for the kids' backpacks and their school supplies. I don't look at that as if, I don't look at it as anything. Truthfully, it's just, you just help somebody if you can. I mean, am I being naive and not digging deep into this?
So look, your experience is your experience, okay? And I don't have any issues with any of that, okay? I'm all good with that. Here's all I'm telling you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
As I began to study A Course in Miracles and began to read it, I began to understand in my mind what being born again meant more. I didn't get it all the way, but the concepts began to make a lot of sense to me, to the point where one day I was driving down the road and I began to record what I was thinking in my head. And what I was thinking in my head was, forgive everybody, everything, no matter who it is that shows themselves to me at this moment, any moment, no matter what, no matter who it is, I'm going to be willing to give them anything and everything that they ask. And I had began to practice that. I had several situations where people, I PayPal people a lot of money, different people, and have for years. Just people that need money, I guess, and they ask me. And so I get tested a lot. And so as I began to read more and to learn more, I realized, one of the things I realized is the more I cried, the more I began to cry, the more I was in heaven, because I had experienced meditation and understood the feeling that came from that and the joy, and crying's the same thing. It's the exact same endorphins, and so that leads you towards heaven. So long and short of it is, I knew something big was going to happen. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I recorded all that, you know, preamble, talking about, you know, the things I talked about just the willingness, changing your mind such that no matter what, you had such an open-mindedness to anything and everything that no matter what, you realized that you were going to change the way you thought always and forever. And the minute that I began to just to think about that, to think about changing the way I thought forevermore, and like taking up a new thought system, then I began to get those feelings. I began to get those kinds of feelings. And so when I began to then understand, the more I was doing this, I was probably on day 150, 160 of A Course in Miracles, of doing this every day. Tina and I recorded the first 30-something days together until she dropped out. And, I died. I got the message that I had the one, you know, like imagine, you know, you think of, you know, The Price is Right, and I just won the grand prize, ding, 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 kind of thing. And I don't remember pulling over. I don't remember a lot of the details of it, but when it happened, you've won, here you go. And I was in heaven, and I looked out, and it was, you know, it was everything you could imagine heaven to be. It was the same place. It wasn't any different. But it was heaven. It is heaven. I'm in heaven right now. But what I found is that I could go to heaven. But it would be a different heaven than the rest of you, because I'd leave everybody behind. And that was not part of my plan. my plan was the Jesus plan, and that I needed to go back and to help explain what had got me there, so that you too could be born again like Jesus talked about. That's when when all the people are holding signs saying Jesus saves and all those are folks that understand. They got it. Now we might think of them as not the same as us, or maybe a little bit different, but I'll tell you, those folks actually have it, and they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're called, and they're living their lives. But our life is different. Our life is what it's been, and it is what it'll continue to be. But the big difference, though, is when you're shown the call and you do the work, then you get the reward. And so, I did the spiritual work, and I had the experience, the born again experience, where I could have gone, I could have left, but I knew that if I did, that I'd leave everybody behind. And that was,
explain that to me. Hold on. Explain that to me. You were at a point to where you've mentioned this like several times, and I have not asked you on it, but I'm going to. And we might need to talk about this another time. This might not be something we can talk about right now. But when you say to me, I could have gone or I could have stayed, all right, first of all, when my Billy Reed passed away, like truly passed away and died, she told me, Jesus is here. He told me that he wants me to come, and I told him, no, I'm not ready yet, and I'd come when I was wanting to. And she, honest to God, I believe her. I saw the most beautiful, beautiful, beautiful part of death that I think anyone, God bless me with this. But when you say, I could have gone, but I chose to stay because I don't want to leave the people I love, what does that mean? At that moment, was God like, okay, it's it, you're going to die today, and your body is going to die today, and you're going to come with me? Or was it, what was that? What does that mean?
Yeah, so great question. So as I began to step out of my body, it was, look, this all happens in your mind, I guess, right? Right? It was, there's probably no recording of this anywhere. But my truck's there, parked right in front of that little sign, the little historical marker, and so I have that vision in my head, and the ding 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 ding, you've won, is in my head. I'm in just the most total ecstasy you could ever imagine, as if you're meditating, and you've gotten to the point where I have, and I began to step out of my body into heaven. It was like, here you are, and I could step out. And the minute that I began to step out of my body, which I did, I made a move out. But the minute that I did, I knew that I would be gone forever and never see my loved ones again. And I had a choice. And I could be born again like Jesus was, and I could come back. But I had to tell everybody. I had to, that was part of the mission. That's why we're part of the greatest game, And so
your job was not done.
Right. So I chose to come back. I at that point I knew that my mission was different. I thought that Penny was ahead of me. I called Penny, and I told her that I had done it, and that to meet me. I told her where to meet me, and she thought I would. That was when I realized that I thought she was ahead of me and waiting for me, but it turns out that I was way ahead of her, and so that's when I became stymied, and it was confusing for a while. That's what I call my desert period. And you know, and I began to realize the true power of a connected mind. And I began to practice miracles. And I practice miracles to this day. And it's an interesting, wonderful thing. You know, I love it. I absolutely love it. And, you know, miracles are never lost. You don't always see the results right away, but they show up. You know, they're showing up in my life and everything around me. They're showing up in you. You know, and it is one of the interesting things for me. And again, look, the spirituality that I'm practicing may not be for everybody. Everybody has to save their own world, right? I have to save my world, and that's what I am doing, have done, to the point where I know this is heaven. This is heaven, and there are miracles here. And you know, like your job thing that's happening, right? You're describing the miracle as it's happening. You know, the guard is changing. You know, and it might not be exactly what you're describing, but everybody, the world is working as it should. And I have a buddy of mine that says, you know, I just make it do what it do. You know, and he's an amazing that sees it. You know, there are people who are many times enlightened and don't even realize it, you know.
So I've got a question. You obviously, like we had just discussed, we're not through. I mean, when you had this beautiful moment in your life, and it was come this way, and you chose the path that you're taking right now because you knew that you had so much more to give, I guess.
Yeah.
I have to tell you how much I love you for including me in that. Because, you know, you and I have been, we've known each other forever. We've been through, like you said, good, bad, ugly, happy, sad, wonderful, amazing. I mean, every single thing that I think, every meaning that we could have actually done together. I mean, every emotion that we have shared. However, we haven't talked a whole lot in the recent past. And now we talk quite often, daily, and I love it. So, personally, I would like to thank you for choosing this side and for being here for me and sharing this with me. I feel blessed. I feel loved beyond measure. And I just, goddamn time you started spoiling me.
Oh, you're the best. I love you.
You know what I mean, though. I mean,
yeah, totally.
Totally. You know, you're like, there are a few people, it's my world, and to be involved and be a part of your world means so much.
Well, you I don't even know. I guess you just don't understand how special you are to me. So that's fine. It's all good. It's all good.
Oh no, but I do. But to hear it the way you describe it now, and to listen to so many of the stories in your journey makes it even deeper. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm so proud of my journey, and there's dips and things, and I'm not rich. I don't have no money. But I tell you what, being able to spend my life the way I'm living it with my parents and the friends that I have, and the you know, my kids doing great and all that stuff, I just feel so, I don't know, I just feel so blessed. But the biggest thing that I'm thankful for lately has been a connection of people that, look, there's some folks that I've been talking to and helping out, kind of on the side, and I'm just proud of them too, I'm proud of Lindsay and Jennifer and Tina, and they're cool people, and LaTroy, and then and they're, they helped me grow in a way, Kai. It's an interesting kind of thing to have to get a call in the middle of the night from somebody that you barely know and say, I need a bus ticket, I'm in a really bad place,
Mm-hmm.
and to go, what do I do? I don't know this person. They were a
what do you
waitress.
do?
I sent them the money. I sent them a ticket.
Oh.
You send a ticket. If how, I guess from my perspective, how dare I not, right? If I get asked directly, how do you say no? I don't.
Okay, well, I need.
That's why we have
well,
up on telemarketers before they get too far into the spiel.
well, I need $1 million, a yacht, your old truck that I used to hate, and you to come visit.
Yeah, right. Buy the Texas lottery. That's where Joe and Carla are in Hawaii for the Texas lottery. You should have won that. We could be on that trip.
What?
Yeah.
Get out! Yeah. It was for the Texas lottery. Oh, he's
yeah.
in Texas.
Huh?
That's right. He lives in Cleveland.
Yeah. They won some kind of scratch off or something. It was like an all expense paid trip for two for like 7 days to Hawaii with a whole bunch of other people. So like Texans taking, Oahu or something.
Okay. So listen to this crap. You told me about this 2 or 3 days ago, and I was in my car, which I don't go anywhere, which is kind of a freaky thing that, after COVID, I don't know. It's not because I'm afraid of COVID. It's just because I'm lazy. So I was actually in my car, and I heard on the radio someone was in Hawaii because of a scratch-off. I kid you not. I wanted to call you right then, but I was on the phone. I was on a work call. But
yep.
That was Joe?
Yeah. There's a bunch of them.
It was on 93Q. I swear on my soul, it was on 93Q. Yeah. They were talking about him.
There's like hundreds of them over there. Hundreds of them.
Oh, it might not have been him then. Okay. All right.
Right.
But I heard it for the first time after you talked to me about it. How funny is that?
That is cool. That's cool.
Well, then let's start playing the scratch off.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. I went off on a tangent there. Go ahead. I'm listening to you.
Yeah. So it it's just an interesting thing. We talked about meditation and look, meditation. I don't know. I just don't even know. Meditation and prayer is, oh wow, golly. That's some of the most exciting things to do. Some of the most
That's what I have heard, because I've been interested in meditation. That's why I asked you so much about it, because I trust you and your judgment. But typically, what I have always heard about it is it's a prayer. It can be, like you said, our Father who art in heaven. It can be anything, but it's your prayer, and whatever it is that means something to you, in order to get closer to Jesus Christ.
Right. Yeah. That's a great way to put it. Absolutely.
I like your way of saying it though. It's like a song.
Well, so I would love to read the Course in Miracles section on prayer, where it says very clearly that prayer is a song, and Jesus's example of prayer is literally just like a song, just basically saying, sing this song. Imagine if it was written in Greek and it all rhymed, if it was in its original whatever, and you could sing it,
No, that I do remember back when I was going to Bible study, etc. First Baptist, I forgot her name. This is so embarrassing. But she actually, the studies that I would do were actually transcribed from the Greek version of the Bible, and it was really neat to learn all of it. So when you're talking about listening to the Greek version, I wonder how it actually would sound.
Exactly. Yeah, it's an interesting kind of concept. Yeah. So, but the idea of what Jesus was saying was, don't pray out in the streets where everybody can see you. Pray in a secret place, because your prayers are answered before you ever speak them. Jesus says, don't even ask for anything, for the Lord already knows your prayer, all your prayers already. Simply pray like this. And he said, Our Father who art in heaven. He goes through the Lord's Prayer in a complete, as a kind of a song, as a poem, as you don't need to say anything other than this. And that all he's trying to do is to get your place, get your foundation where you're at, and to see earth as heaven, and to give thanks to your Father for being there, and to forgive your brothers their sins or debts as they forgive yours, and it really does mean that. It's exactly what it means. It's like anybody that owes you anything, you forgive them it immediately. That's what he's talking about. That if you don't do that, you won't remain in heaven. If you think that somebody owes you something and you're holding that against them as a human being, then you're holding yourself out of heaven. It's kind of what he was trying to say.
Get that. And I do get the other too, because I remember I would totally repeat a prayer. God do no matter what, Lord, I want my children's salvation. I understand they're going to go through strife. Please, Lord, as I'm holding their clothes, help them walk in your path. Please, Lord, as I'm holding their shirt, let them have a heart that's pure and that just comes to you. I kid you not, I would pray that over my children every single day. And I would just ask God, just let them be yours. Let them go through life. I'm not asking for that they don't have to have hardship. That's when we learn, and that's when we embrace you more. But finally, I felt in my head and my brain, I swear it was not verbal, but I heard him say, stop asking me. I had little faith is what more or less I heard. I've already given this to you. Stop. It's done. Believe in me.
Amen.
And I started bawling, crying like a baby. And it was one of the most moving moments in my life.
A Course in Miracles calls that revelation.
That's revelation. Okay.
Yep, that you had revelation.
Oh.
And revelation is from God and of God and in God's time. Check it out. It's a very second part of A Course in Miracles. But you could definitely classify that as say, oh my gosh, right here I had a revelation, and this is what you could very clearly place that event in that category and go, it'd be some place that you could we could all identify with, if that makes sense.
Then I've had several revelations then. I mean, I remember I used to read Billy Graham books all the time. And I remember going to church, and I was very upset, and I was just kind of Lord, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Why am I not seeing these things in my life? I don't understand. And I mean, I would not meditate, but I would give my time to God pretty much after I dropped the kids off in school. But one day, God's always spoke to me through books, and I was reading this book, and it was by Billy Graham at that time, and I was outside, and I had already prayed this prayer either the day before or that day, and it was fall, and the leaves were starting to fall and everything of that nature, and I was watching it, and then in the Billy Graham's thing, it says, do not expect change, overnight. It takes time, and everything changed. It was just really so cool. The way that God speaks to us is amazing.
It totally is. So the second chapter is Revelation, Time, and Miracles, so it's really cool. Like I would say, my born again experience, it would be a revelation, right? And I've had other revelations also, like you described, but definitely my born again experience was definitely a revelation. And those are very personal. You cannot, if you go to explain them to somebody else, words fail. There's just no way to even describe it. But that something was revealed to you. That's what a revelation is about. You had a revelation straight from God, and you now have knowledge that's different from a belief. You now have had direct communication from God. Like He has completely revealed a concept to you. And you identified the concept of you don't need to ask so hard. Ask it once and it's heard, basically.
Trust me, yeah.
Yeah.
It's more or less you saying, you believe in me, you say you have faith in me, you say you follow me, you say you love me, then why are you more or less being this persistent little pest, asking me for the same thing over and over? You already have it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it,
yeah,
how He would reveal that to you. I love it. Yeah, that's absolutely a revelation for sure. Absolutely.
And that's exactly how I took it. It was kind of like, really? I'm sure He wouldn't, I don't know. But it was kind of like, really? Are you, you've already told me that, it's like with if I came to you right now and said, hey, let's make a grilled cheese sandwich, and we're making it. And of course, and I'm still asking you for a grilled cheese sandwich. Like, come on, we're making it right now. You're eating it. Stop. It was eye opening. It was beautiful. It made me feel as if I didn't trust enough in my God at that time. But it also helped me to grow. That's always when I've grown the most, is when I was at my weakest.
That's a very spiritual concept, right? As our ego runs out of energy because it has taken us on a dead end path, there's nothing else that can pick us up but the Holy Spirit, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I love talking to you. It's awesome.
Well, I love talking to you too. All the time. You're one of my besties.
Besties.
You're my honest promise, do or die, no matter what. We'll love each other.
Oh, that's for sure.
Marshall in